We are Group 17 and our campaign is Steer Clear of the Beer. Our target behavior is alcohol impaired driving. Alcohol consumption is a common behavior among college students. According to a Harvard School of Public Health College Alcohol Study report, about 30% of students drove under the influence of alcohol and 23% rode with a driver who was already drunk or high. Alcohol makes up the vast majority of substance related problems on campuses. Because drinking is often socially acceptable, recognizing it as a problem in college students who drink can be difficult. As shown in the graph to the right, alcohol consumption among college students over the past decade has remained relatively unchanged. There are a variety of consequences and alcohol-related problems that occur among U.S. college students that involve performing poorly in classes, risk of injury due to alcohol-impaired driving, heavy drinking, possibly leading to alcohol poisoning, trips to emergency rooms, and even death. Death and injuries from alcohol-related traffic collisions are not rare occurrences. In 2005, of all the 1,825 estimated alcohol-related injury deaths of college students, 1,357 were due to drinking and driving.
For our external source, well-recognized former NBA star Shaquille O'Neal is one of the first celebrities to combat the national issue of college and binge drinking. Since 2010, Shaq has joined Drive Like You Give a Blank to fight impaired driving by encouraging young adults to make safe and smarter decisions when behind the wheel. For our internal source, we use Mothers Against Drunk Driving. MAD is a long-standing organization that has advocated for stricter laws about underage drinking and drinking and driving. Since 1980, MAD reports that they have helped to cut drunk driving deaths in half, saved around 350,000 lives, and helped more than 850,000 victims. Because our campaign revolves around college students, this would be more applicable because these students are also children of parents.
Our primary target audience for Steer Clear of the Beer are college students attending SDSU between the ages of 18 to 24 years old. We picked this population because drinking and driving is most prevalent among young adults at this age, especially those who attend college, universities, and or live away from home. Studies show a smaller percentage of students who lived in dorms that were reported for drinking and driving and riding with a high or drunk driver than students who lived in Greek houses. Students at large campuses reported higher rates of driving after consuming any alcohol. Meet Frat Star Fred. He is a 19-year-old student who just started his second year at San Diego State University. He lives as a single child and is therefore spoiled by his parents fairly often. Frat Star Fred is originally from San Jose but currently lives with his fraternity brothers in San Diego, fairly close to school. He uses social media daily, including Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, and is involved with the Greek life as well as other student orgs on campus. Frat Star Fred is currently not in a relationship. However, he parties almost every weekend with his fraternity and the girls of the different sororities they associate themselves with. He listens to alternative rock and EDM and loves to spend his downtime binge-watching shows on Hulu and Netflix. His favorite shows are The Office and Rick and Morty. Although both of his parents aren't heavy drinkers, Frat Star Fred has a family history of alcoholism, and he is aware that this might have an effect on his current drinking habits. He has gotten into a car accident before in the past, and although he is afraid of getting caught for driving under the influence, Frat Star Fred sometimes chooses to drink and drive for parties because he claims that they are close enough to his house. The secondary target audience of our campaign is the parents and family members of the primary audience. We chose this particular group because they serve as effective communicators that influence their children's behaviors. Studies show if one parent is a heavy drinker, the child's chances of becoming a heavy drinker increases by 2 or 3 times. Among off-campus residents, those who lived with parents had lower rates of drinking and driving than those who lived alone or with a roommate. This is Rad Dad Ryan. He is 42 years old and has been married to his wife Hannah for about 6 years now. He is a father of 2. Kevin is his 18-year-old son who has just started his first year at San Diego State University, and Taylor is his 16-year-old daughter who is currently attending high school as a sophomore. Radzad Ryan also attended SDSU and graduated with a degree in psychology. He now works as a program specialist for an insurance company. The only type of social media he actively uses is Facebook, especially when winding down to relax after a long day of work or when keeping in contact with friends and other relatives. Radzad Ryan loves spending time with his wife and kids, and occasionally goes golfing with his buddies on the weekend. He drinks only sometimes when he goes out with his friends and on special occasions, but doesn't casually drink at home. Because he is aware that Kevin is a newly admitted student at SDSU, Rad Dad Ryan understands that his son will be experiencing college parties that involves underage drinking through personal experience, and only wishes for Kevin's good health and safety.
Our overall purpose will include 2 objectives. Our impact objective will be within 1 year, we will achieve a decrease in alcohol consumption amongst college students, specifically young adults aged 18 to 22, by 20%. Our outcome objective will be that by May 2025, the amount of alcohol-related accidents in college students at SDSU will decrease by 75% by the increased use of ride-sharing apps such as Uber and Lyft. When selecting what channels to use, it was important to understand what would fit best with the audience we were trying to reach. Social media will be used frequently to update followers with statistics and guidance, while print media will be distributed to spread awareness of the issue.
Social media is a digital approach to tackle our multifaceted campaign by improving our reach and user engagement. By making our message accessible on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter, it will allow us to maximize our campaign by exposing it to a vast majority of individuals on multiple formats and contexts. Because our targeted audience is of the younger generation, specifically college students, we are able to personalize the content tailored to their individual needs.
We will emphasize the dangers of drinking and driving using 2 flyers to post around campus. The first flyer will state, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found that nearly 1/3 of all traffic deaths in 2014 were alcohol-related. Don't be a statistic. Then it will say, for more information, follow SDSU SCOTB, which stands for Steer Clear of the Beer, on Instagram and Twitter. The second flyer will read, Associated Students challenges you to steer clear of the beer, then follow with the same statistic in the Instagram and Twitter handle shared in the previous flyer. Print media is still very relevant to our audience because we cannot assume everyone has the proper access to internet or social media. Also, some may not come across our social media channels until seeing our print media in the first place. We will be posting our flyers around campus at various locations to ensure it reaches the most possible. These places will include the ARC, bulletin boards, Hepner Hall, the library, residence halls, and restrooms.
Messages. Our first message, Steer Clear of the Beer, is a peripheral approach because it is our attempt to use a catchy slogan, similar to the popular Stay Alive, Don't Drink and Drive slogan. This message works for the elaboration likelihood model peripherally as opposed to centrally because it is auditorily pleasing and appeals to the audience with simplicity. This approach is utilized in order to appeal to basic logic and a gain frame mentality in our passive audience who may not be as motivated to engage in a more thorough message. With its catchiness, not only does the slogan serve to announce our message, but it can further function to advocate for students to explore safer alternatives. This is gain framed in the sense that it emphasizes the positive aspect of refraining from drinking and driving, and there being a greater chance of your survival. You're much more likely to make it to your destination safe if you can refrain from drunk driving, or if you have a designated driver or Uber. So just remember, if you're the one steering, then you shouldn't be beering.
Our second message is Stay Alive, Don't Drink and Drive. This message includes some of the reasons why it's hard for college students to say no to drinking and driving. Drunk driving is common among our target audience, and we hope to address this issue. We believe this message to be a loss frame as we focus on the negative aspects of our target behavior. Some of these losses may include losing out on possible friendships and social opportunities when passing up drinking with friends. The reasoning behind this message is that we believe our target population might encounter peer pressure, which encourages designated drivers to perhaps drink but still drive while intoxicated. As a result of these reckless decisions, accidents, injuries, and death may occur. The message pertains more towards the central route described in the elaboration likelihood model. ELM highlights the role of audience involvement level as it shapes cognitive responses, thought generation, and central versus peripheral routes to persuasion. If our target population learns our messages, we will consider our persuasion methods to be successful, as it is described in the elaboration likelihood model that learning the message equals persuasion, and persuasion equals doing the behavior. Our poster will provide information and statistics which might take more critical thinking to understand the meaning behind the numbers. Our message requires the participants to be active and have the motivation and ability to think about the message and topic. This message is considered to be more emotional as our group can relate to the target population. We all have been in uncomfortable situations, whether that may be seeing a friend make poor decisions or making the poor decisions ourselves. We further increase our credibility by establishing a common ground between us and the audience. The campaign objectives pertaining to this message are activate and advise. Our group wants to activate our target population to pay attention to our social media and flyers, which hopefully motivates them to make the right decision to not drive drunk. This message also advises our audience as we provide different facts on different social media platforms hoping to inform.